What are thoughts? Are they just the things that you randomly and intentionally think about each day? Or are they merely ideas that run through your mind? If that's all you know about thoughts, you are missing the whole universe. Thought is the highest function you are capable of. Thought is the preamble to everything. It has to do with all about you. The belongings that you desire, the wealth that you want to build up, the goals that you want to achieve, and many more. In this video, we will let you know in a simple way what thoughts really are. And more important, what does it have to do with you, how would it help you, and as well as in what ways it will harm you. The goal is, by the end of this video, you should have a brand new understanding about your thoughts, and how to use it to head towards a more intriguing and successful life. Before we will jump right into the core topic, you must first understand the basis, in order to build a good foundation, of how thoughts would work for you. Let's first take a look at how our brain works. Our brain is a big traffic network, like a highway system. One of its main purposes is to create signals and transmit them across your body. It is made up by approximately 100 billion neurons by the time it gets fully developed. The information is transmitted by sending and receiving chemicals, by the neurons between brain cells. As an example, when you derive a thought to move your legs to take a step forward, your brain cells, or more precise, the neurons in your brain, disperse the chemicals, issue the signals to travel along your spinal cord, reaching to the associated muscle groups in your legs, and finally commanding the movement of your legs, to take a step forward. This is a thought to move your body. Thoughts are not restricted to the movement of your body. For example, you can have a thought to desire wealth, or you can have a thought to compose a song. No matter what type of the thoughts are, they all work in the same principle. In physical form, the operation of a thought is a bunch of electrical signals, originates from your brain, delivers through your body, and convert into actions to interact with the surrounding. Let's take a look at a more comprehensive example. Say, you desire wealth. When this thought is generated, it will push you to generate actions in order to make money. For instance, in the most traditional way like many of us do. You derive a thought to command yourself to go to work each morning when you wake up. Or in a more advanced manner, you would explore different ways to make money by thinking about the alternatives. When you have the very first thought about doing such, it can result in generating more thoughts. In essence, making you to think more, creating more brilliant ideas to generate the wealth you desire. For example, doing some research to see what the market lacks and what people need, and come up with the product and sell it to people. As you can see, thoughts interact with its surrounding, no matter if it's an internal thinking, taking a step forward, or composing actions to enable you to generate wealth. Let's take a closer look inside a thought. You might ask, how can we do that? Isn't a thought invisible? Well, not quite. As you've seen from the previous mentioning, a thought in fact is a neural activity, which is a constant flicker of electrical currents that run through the neuron connection in the brain, and its ultimate goal is to interact with the world in the way that you want. If you examine it in microscopic form, it is nothing but chains of vibration. Now listen carefully. Vibration is the key element of a thought when it comes to understanding it. In this world, or let me be more specific, in this universe, everything happens in the form of vibration. For example, light is an electromagnetic vibration. It transfers energy by vibrating particles along a path. Your flesh, when breaking it down to subatomic form, also exists in the form of vibration. In fact, even a dead body continues to vibrate, otherwise, it would not be able to decompose. The truth is, everything you see and everything that you don't see out there is a form of vibration. No matter if it's a tree, a stone, the air molecule, the water molecule, the sunlight from the sky. You name it. When it comes to a thought, it is a type of vibration since it is an organized form of electromagnetic pattern. If a thought is a vibration, and a stone is also a vibration, then how are they different? They differ in terms of their vibration frequency and characteristics. In simple English, a thought is a much more active and intense form of vibration compared to that of a stone. If you will, it's like an energetic signature, which has its unique form and distinguished pattern. So how does vibration work? If we must describe it in one single phrase, that would be: a thought emits to the outside world, links the subject matter that correlates to itself, and channels it back to its host. If you remember, in the beginning we described the different types of thought, so what do they all have in common? They all interact with its surrounding. When the brain sends a command to move your leg, you might think that the neural signal interacts only with your own body, but that is not true. You have to think outside of the box, and don't let the physical boundary to limit your vision. In processing this thought, your leg also interacts with the ground, because after all, when your leg moves, it has to interact with its immediate surrounding. The truth is, in the world of physics, there is no actual boundary. To a certain extent, vibration touches everything. One tier after another, it propagates itself outward indefinitely. It doesn't care if the leg is the final frontier, or if the ground is the last stop. The vibration connects to the next barrier, and continues to interact with the next. In the example of moving your legs, when the step is taken, the movement of your legs completes its duty at that point, but that is not the end of the story. In fact, the motion of the vibration continues to ripple through its surrounding. When your legs move, the surrounding air molecules got pushed away. The landing of the footstep converts energy into sound, creating the sound of a footstep. The sound wave would continue to travel further, creating more vibrations, touching everything in its path. When a nearby grasshopper hears the sound, it gets frightened. It jumps away, landing on a slice of leaf, thus creating more vibration in its own course. In this manner, the movement, originated by a simple thought in your mind, continues to progress through the fabric of space, touching and affecting both the things that your eyes can see and not see. This event is like dropping a stone into the water, creating a ripple effect in the universe in the form of vibration. This happens every day, every second, as all of us is interacting with the surrounding, in one form or another. In essence, this surrounding we've been talking about, indeed, is our entire universe, in which all events associates with one another. Even the tiniest thought can trigger effects and ripple through every corner of the universe. In the previous example, we see that vibration generates results via the interconnection of everything it touches. But exactly how far can a thought reach, and how much influence does it have? To answer this question, we have to look at two aspects: the intense level of your thought and how persistent it is. In the example of taking a step forward, although it is not much of an action. But what if I tell you, when a person takes over 40,000 steps and persists doing it for over 2 hours in a continuous manner, what can possibly happen? He would set a new world record for the men's marathon. As a fact, there is this man named Kelvin Kiptum, and he set a new world record in October 2023 in running the Chicago Marathon, finishing in 2 hours and 35 seconds. Let's take a look at another example. During the 1960s, before the space program was announced, one day President Kennedy met with his science advisor, Dr. Wernher von Braun. Kennedy asked him, what would it take to fly a man to the moon, land him there, and then safely return him to Earth? Von Braun took a deep thought to think and replied to the president in 5 words: the will to do it. Almost a decade later, Dr. von Braun successfully developed the Saturn V rocket, which took the Apollo 11 mission to the moon in July 1969. And he was referred by the people as the father of the space program. These two examples show us that a thought indeed can be powerful. Once a thought derives, it invites opportunities, gets things done, and causes events to happen, when you allow it to. In contrary, when without a proper and focused thought, nothing can get done. There are many interesting topics out there, such as the law of attraction, the law of cause and effect, and the law of assumption. Many of these are describing the same concept of what we are going over here, except going about it from a different perspective. In the very center of the truth, vibration is the keyword to a thought. Once a thought is issued, the vibration kicks off and spreads out in all directions. It interacts with the rest of the surrounding, no matter how significant or insignificant the effect is. Since the thought is presented in the form of vibration, in essence, it is a wave. Along the way, the wave of the thought not only introduces encounters to the outside world, but can also trigger the reception of other similar vibrations out there. As the law of attraction illustrates, your thought attracts vibration of the similar kind. This is like when you are standing on top of a hill, yelling out loud to the other side of the hill. Once the parties from the other side of the hill hears your request, and if the request complies with what they know, they would echo back. Since this video is not focusing on the law of attraction, we will only lightly touch this topic here. We will discuss more interesting topics of the similar kind in the future. Be sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so. For the time being, you just need to know a thought works for you exactly the way you thought of it. If you think negatively, worrying that you will bump into problems at work, then the likelihood is you will run into problems at work. This is because your thoughts are focused and thinking about only the problematic side of work. In other words, when you seek problems, your subconscious mind will direct your efforts and behavior towards the direction of the problems. On the other hand, if you think positively, believing that you will succeed at work and overcome all problems, then the likelihood is you will overcome and resolve the issues at work. This is because your energy is being directed into the directions to seek answers instead of looking for the dead ends. As an example, in the discovery of the law of flotation, it was via focusing and observing in things that float, instead of contemplating on objects that sink. If you think about it, when you want to build a ship that floats on water, you would explore methods and think of ideas that can make it float instead of creating thoughts that will make it sink, right? The origin of every successful stories throughout history, including the ones you have made for yourself so far, is always originated from a single thought. When you decide to do something, you manifest the thought gets converted into actions in reality. And then the event happens accordingly. Each action helps you to reach further along the way, getting closer to the goal. In reality, you'd often run into setbacks. It is via constant retries and repeating of the thinking process, holding firmly onto your beliefs and continuously turning ideas into more actions, would you generate the result and eventually cross the finish line. There is really no secret behind this. The Wright brothers deeply believed that man can fly while the majority of the world was laughing at them, but they had succeeded at the end. And they did it by constantly manifesting thoughts that align with their goal and persisting the same footsteps until the mission is accomplished. For those of you who possess a religious background, this would sound familiar. It is described as faith. When you want to create result, you must first believe in it. Success is always right next to you, and in many cases without you having to realize it. How so, you might ask? But first let me tell you that, if you are thinking that you can achieve a goal by merely composing a thought and then just sitting there doing nothing and letting things to happen, I can guarantee you that it is not how the thought process works. A thought must be accompanied by a firm belief first, and then actions to follow and support it. Success is by solid faith, believing in yourself as well as your surroundings, and it must be accompanied by legitimate and productive work in order to materialize the outcome. Now back to the question, how is success right next to you? Let's take an example. Imagine you are the world's first and only mathematician. You set a goal for yourself to seek the answer of 1 + 1. But have you ever thought about that? What if, as the world's first and only mathematician, what would happen when you decide not to pursue to look for the answer? If so, as a result, the equation of 1 + 1 has never been solved by mankind in the history. Would that imply the sum of 1 + 1 does not exist? Or mathematics doesn't exist simply because you refuse to solve one of the equations? No, of course not. The answer of 1 + 1 is 2, and it would always exist, no matter if you choose to seek for it or not. This is no different than the fact that a water molecule has been and always will be composed by 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. With or without you and I to explore it, or anyone else to discover it, The knowledge already existed and will continue to be there with or without the existence of mankind. From the grand perspective of the universe, try to look at the ingredients of success as already existed and being scattered in your surrounding. You do not have to worry about how far the ingredients are being scattered across the universe, because it will come to you as you seek it. When the Wright brothers first dreamed about flying in the air, did they already know exactly how to fly? When Dr. von Braun confidently responded to President Kennedy's question, did he also know the exact path to the moon? They probably did not. But they knew that the answer exists, and they also knew that if they look for it, they will find it. In understanding thoughts, you have now a new way to look at your surroundings. Every thought matters when it comes to constructing a meaningful and successful life, simply because the universe operates by vibrations. And thought is one of such. This is not difficult to understand, but it can take time to digest and adapt to this new model of thinking. Once you get used to the idea, you will have a better understanding of everything around you, and the world will make more sense to you. Restart your journey with the way you treat your thoughts. If you let your thoughts to be unconvincing, meaning that you have doubts about it, then those thoughts will not become productive to you. If you allow your thoughts to be negative, going the opposite direction against your goal, then those thoughts will be harmful to you, wasting every tick of your precious seconds. It takes courage to face the truth, a strong faith to believe, and an enduring embrace of your beliefs to achieve big goals. And the bigger the goals, the more qualifying thoughts you would need to possess. Knowing how things work is not the same as making things to work. Only when you can acknowledge and commit your actions, to honor your thoughts honestly, positively, and proactively, will you succeed. This knowledge is your birthright. The choice of the thought is yours to make. So choose your thoughts and operate them wisely. First understand it, and then embrace it firmly to make it to happen. Also, share it with the people you know. Thank you for watching this video. If you like the content and enjoy this program, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And leave questions or comments and we can discuss more.